Fala aí, rapaziada, beleza? Bem-vindo ao canal, Felipe aqui na área, e hoje estamos com o Coach Whte. Ele vem aqui para explicar um pouquinho pra gente né, o que é o White Pill, o que não é, né, e dar esse insight, uma coisa maravilhosa que a gente tem aqui hoje. Coach, thank you very much for joining us here today, and let's crack on. Let's straight away. I would love to ask you. I put up a video back in the day regarding the colors of the pill. I think every red pillar in the book has to do some video talking about the colors. But I would love for you to explain to us your views on the white pill. What is the white pill after all?
Awesome. Thanks for having me, Felipe. Excited to share this. So the white pill is really interesting. I wouldn't say I came up with it, more kind of discovered it because it was missing from the discussion. So depending on how familiar your audience is with red pill, blue pill, and black pill, those were kind of the three colors that emerged from the discussions online. If your audience doesn't know yet, the red pill and the blue pill being, especially in regard to dating, the blue pill would be like Disney movies, things like that, kind of the fake illusion that's sold to guys about how to behave to attract women. The red pill being what the truth is, the reality is, and then the black pill being like the state of modern dating, giving up, the laws in the US favoring women, the dating apps favoring the top guys, and women being more entitled, women being harder to get, looks mattering more than anything else for guys, and this kind of nihilistic, defeatist viewpoint. So there needed to be a counterbalance, to that, and a hopeful message, and that's clearly what the white pill was all about. Because from the movie The Matrix, which is where these pills come from, Neo takes the red pill to find out the truth. So Morpheus just offers him a choice between red pill and blue pill. So for a metaphor standpoint, red pill and blue pill are just the knowledge base, whether it's facing the reality, which is the red pill, or facing, just deluding yourself with an illusion, which is the blue pill. After that, you have to make a decision of what to do, what action plan to take. You could either take the black pill path, like Cypher did in The Matrix, where he essentially, blows everything up and kills them to try and get back in and get blue pilled again. Or you can take Neo's path, which is the white pill path, and find a way to take down the system or improve it, or fix it, or at least help some people along the way. And that's kind of the message. Now it's not a delusion. It's not saying like just be hopeful no matter what. It's not saying just magical thinking. It's not wishful thinking. It's I'm faced with a problem, and no matter how tough or harsh that problem is, I'm going to do my best to fix it, because the alternative is giving up, and that's not acceptable to me. So that's a long way of explaining what the white pill is. But the white pill is basically like I'm not going to give up. I'm going to find a solution, no matter what harsh reality I face.
Brilliant. It's pretty much what I said. On my video, I talked about the black, the red and the blue, and of course the black, the purple, and the white. And a lot of people didn't know about the white pill. And I saw your channel way back, and I was like surprised as well to find out that is a white pill. But you said it perfectly, and it's pretty much the same thing I said on my video. The blue and the red are binary. You either know or you don't know. It's knowledge. It's for you to research and get out of Narnia, if you know what I mean. Get out of Disney. And the other pills are pretty much behaviors. It's what do you do with it? What do you do with this knowledge? And I completely agree with you. The black being the nihilism, and I was like, I don't want to do anything anymore. And the white pill is, I suppose it's still within the spectrum of the red, in the sense of like, I'm a red pill, but I try at least to offer solutions. All the time I keep like showing the problems, but not just showing the problems. You need to somehow navigate through this. And I keep saying to my guys, look, I'm giving you the map of the landmine, like now with this map, you may be able to find a reasonable path and don't lose a leg in the process. But that's pretty much, we are in line with this thought of trying to always find a solution, just not banging the problem. Right. So let's go.
Yeah.
Oh,
One thing I want to say about the red pill is the red pill as a metaphor and the red pill community are two different things, because the red pill community encompasses guys that whine and complain, or guys that try and provide solutions, or scammers that provide fake solutions or don't have or pretend to have solutions. So the metaphor itself can only be understanding the truth, the knowledge. So I want to separate that. The red pill provides solutions. It can't. It's a metaphor, right? It has to encompass knowledge. So the community is a lot different, and there's too much variety, and there's too many frauds in the manosphere or in the red pill communities to really say that like red pill provides solutions. I like the metaphors and understanding that, because and getting away from what the community calls it, because that's really what we're trying to understand, and we're trying to compartmentalize the philosophy behind it, what we're trying to accomplish. And you do have red pillars that give up, and you have red pillars that try. So it's kind of like you can't really say the red pill is that one thing. So from a metaphor standpoint, the red pill is literally, do you know the truth about women and how they, the psychology in the modern dating world, or you don't? And also, purple pill doesn't exist. It doesn't make any sense, because once you've taken the red pill, just like in the movie, you can't be reinstated. You can't hide from what you know. It's just coping. So you're not purple pilled. It's called you're coping. You're trying to insert yourself back in because you know the truth. Once you go red pill, you can't go back. You just can't. You already know the truth. So yeah, purple pill doesn't exist. And then as far as I'm concerned, red pill community is different than the metaphor. And then white pill itself is just there can be communities built around that. That's my goal. But at the end of the day, I don't want it to be just about the community. I want it to be the answer to your problem, your solution. It doesn't have to be my answer. My answer is learning game and looks maxing and improving your financial situation, whatever you need to do to get women. But if you tell me you have a different solution, that's still white pill. You don't have to have my solution or whatever the community says. What's your answer? As long as it's not like, some really bad solution, like
kidnapping a girl.
exactly. As long as it's just helping you and not hurting anyone, as long as it's a productive solution, then that's white pilled. As long as you're not hurting anyone in the process and you're improving your life without negative psychopathic means. If you're improving it in a good way through a productive method, then it's white pilled. It doesn't have to match anybody else's solution.
No, I completely agree with you. Right. Let's talk about this whole thing about black pillars. But the thing is, social media nowadays, celebrities, the ideology, the message, as I call it, because being on YouTube, the platform doesn't like certain words, so I use the message or the agenda to describe everything that we know about. But nevertheless, these things had a massive impact. A negative impact on relationships, turning many women and even men into entitled, promiscuous, low-value people in general. And I see the black pillars, going hard on this, and sometimes it's hard to have an argument with them because they have a point. Being white pill, do you think there is any light at the end of the tunnel? Do you think that from now on things are going to get better, or they're going to get worse before they can get better?
So I have a unique perspective because I've lived both obviously in the United States, but also in Western culture, but I've also lived in Eastern culture for a few years over in Asia. So I have both perspectives. I think that it depends. It depends on what we do as men. It depends on, because a lot of it's this passive victimhood. It's what women like to do. It's what men like to do. It's like, I want to blame someone else for my problems. And so then it perpetuates itself when people are sitting around waiting for it to get better. They're not the ones influencing and making that impact. And, some of it's, the dating app, some of it's a decline in health. So a lot of men are out of shape. They're not desirable partners, both men and women. We're staying home more. Because of the virus, we're getting used to that. We're on apps, we're disconnected. So we're reading stuff online and not meeting as many people. So maybe there are entitled people, or maybe we're being told they're entitled people and we're just not meeting enough people. But I do think it has gotten significantly more challenging. The black pillars are right about that. Otherwise, there wouldn't be an emergence of the movement. And can that be changed? Well, it's going to take an effort of us training guys to stand up for themselves, to you know to work harder, to feel like they deserve more, to be entitled themselves because they've earned it. I'm fine with entitlement if you've earned it. If you work for it, why not go grab it? And sometimes people are too passive when it comes to that. But at the end of the day, I can only coach my guys. I can only train that. And at the end of the day, what I'm doing, I'm training outliers. I'm taking guys and I'm showing them the world that they can live. And I think the biggest mistake that black pillars make is they look at data and statistics and they say, I'm just one of those statistics, right? I'm just one of those. And so even if everything's getting worse, even if Tinder's worse, even if dating apps are worse, even if the whole dating market's getting worse, being a statistic is a choice, right? You can choose to be better than everybody else. You can choose to go to the gym more often than everybody else. You can choose to work harder than anybody else, right? And so when you're an individual watching us on YouTube or in our content or getting training from us or whatever, you're making a choice to be average or below average. You're making a choice to be mediocre. So I don't even care if they were 100% correct. I wouldn't care because they're making a choice to be that way. And they don't realize they can be the outlier that gets whatever life that they want to achieve. And that's kind of like my mindset, is that I don't even care if the statistics are against me. I'm going to go and do what I want to do and work hard for it. So.
No, that's great. I mean, it's my same point. I can only I used to say that I can only control myself, right? I can't control their behaviors. What I can do is set filters, set rules, set boundaries, and I mean, I used to say that I love the spirit, as I call it, the spirit of the anagram, which, I'm going to say it. If this video gets demonetized, I don't care. But the MGTOW. Nowadays in Brazil,
Yeah.
I don't know, in the US, if I say MGTOW or if I put a MGTOW on the title or something, my video get demonetized straight away. But nevertheless, I say that you need to have the spirit of the MGTOW, understanding that you need to follow your path, your objectives, your life. I used to say on my videos that your life is a train and you are the conductor. If you stop in a station and let the girl come in, great. If she's going to aggregate to your life, even better. If she becomes a liability, drop it off. You don't need to get upset, get angry, get rage, or anything like this. Just move on with your life and go for it. Right. So let's go for the next one here. Here in Brazil, I guess it's the same in the US. There is a massive rise on the black pill community, including MGTOWs. And things like you said yourself, Lucas, high six-figure, are given as a barrier of entry, so to speak. Do you think? I mean, let's put it this way: if I were to set up a channel right now without showing my face, and all I did on my channel was to bash women left, right, and center, I would be on 20,000 subscribers within 6 months, right?
Yeah.
But I offer solutions, and as we try to offer solutions. We say yes, it is a bit of harsh reality right now. It's hard for everyone, but you have to have game. You have to do the work and everything. And I see this black guys just bashing, and they are growing up, growing massively. What are your thoughts on that?
So yeah, I mean, people are lazy. They'd rather watch YouTube than go out. So they'd rather sit and complain than have to be, because if the minute you acknowledge that you can change something and improve your life, you have to go to the gym, or you have to go to meet women, or you have to go to the bar, like whatever. You have to work harder. You have to go get professional photos or something. It's work. And people would rather complain and be validated than do the work to improve. And it is more challenging now, especially because, when I started my journey around 2010, 2011, Tinder didn't exist until 2012. So it's like I was pre-dating app, and the culture definitely changed, because when you consider dating apps and you don't actually talk to people, which has gotten worse during the virus and post-virus, the apps definitely support the black pill, right? The apps are based on, well, if they force you to put height, they're based on height. They're based on looks for men, right? They're based on that. So if that's all you know, then of course you're going to think that way. And also, they're not just based on that, but the way the apps work in terms of trying to get money from guys. So it's even worse because back when the apps were free, it was actually much easier for the average guys to do well, and it didn't have anything to do with look. I mean, it has something to do with looks and photos, but now they're getting guys to pay, and there's less women on it, so it's concentrating it in the better looking guys. So if you're only on the apps, then sure, you know, I've gone off the apps, and I'm in the U.S. and I go out to the bar, and it's 10 times, it's 100 times easier for me because of my skills, right? On the apps, I'm even if I have a really good, you know, profile, I'm still waiting around to get that match to start messaging rather than just walk right up to the woman. But a lot of guys lack the social skills. They lack the seduction skills, the game skills, and they just want to blame something else. So yeah, it is hard to get traction when everybody else just wants to watch something that validates their opinions. But that said, I think as I'm working on my channel and growing it, the best way to do it is to challenge those. So maybe I'm not going to have a massive channel, but if the goal is to train guys, which I'm a coach, I'm not a YouTuber, I don't, you know, I just need the guys who really actually want to live that life and want to succeed. I don't need to, you know, be supported by a bunch of complainers. And the best way to get that attention really to your channel, to my channel, is to challenge those creators.
No,
So, you know, you
absolutely.
take them head on. If you start taking them head on, then you'll have their audience come over. You got to be able to take the criticism that comes along with it because they'll try and bash you. But at the end of the day, you'll get some attention that way. And that's, you know, that's really what I've done is taken them head on. I've gone to their channels and talked to them and I've taken the heat. But at some point I get where they're coming from. So it's not, I don't want to dismiss everything. And I'll be having some videos coming up. Have you heard of Wheat Waffles, the Black Pillar?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so Wheat Waffles is probably one of the more popular ones now, and he sounds the most reasonable, which is good, but it's also the most dangerous because he's not the worst, but it's
He's
dangerous
very
because it
eloquent,
sounds.
and he can really
He's
put
very
his
eloquent,
yeah, he can put his argument across very well.
but he's
Um,
not. Yeah, he's not too black pill. I mean, he's not too dark about it. He talks about looks maxing, but yeah, like if I were to challenge him and I wanted to debate him, that opens the door for guys to find me, and I'm never gonna have that 500,000 subscribers or whatever. But my goal is to train outliers. So my goal is to coach guys that want to change their lives. So I don't need a million guys following me.
no, absolutely, it's quality over quantity, and
Yeah,
you know, the people who comment on my videos, they are in a better path. Let's put it this way. They are not grieving, and the ones that come to my channel that are grieving, and they send me emails, they make comments, and I always, you know, comment back, and I try to get them out. You know, it's one. I was talking to a friend the other day, and he said to me, "What's your point? Do you want to make money on YouTube?" I said, "No, I want to help people." So that's what you're doing. You're helping people. You know, if you really save one life, is one life more saved than a lot of people ever did in their lives. You know, so
yeah.
that's the position here. But you said some. Oh, by the way, do you know how old Whit Waffles is?
I think he's 19 or 20.
I
I think
think
he's
he's
19.
20. I think I saw on the Alexander Grace video, they did a live together, and he's 20 years old. I'm sorry,
Exactly.
he's very eloquent, and he probably do a lot of research. His script, his videos pretty, you know, nice and everything. I'm not bashing his work, but there is a lack of experience there. There is a lack of, you know, field experience, or and it feels sometimes that these guys took the first punch of their lives. You know, they've been betrayed by a woman or something like this, and from that point on, it's all downhill. They haven't tried, like you said yourself, improve
Exactly.
or anything. It's the path of least resistance. Is it way easier just to blame them than blame yourself? And don't get me wrong, son, blaming others is not a masculine trait. You know,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
I used to say that people ask me, "Oh, did you have the rage?" I mean, when you find out the red pill, did you get the rage? And I say, yes, with myself. You know, I can't blame a scorpion for, you know, sting me. It is a
Yep.
scorpion. It is their
Yep.
nature to sting. If I put my
Yeah.
feet next to it, he's gonna sting me. I can't blame him.
Yeah.
I blame
Yeah.
myself for not knowing any better, for being so
Yeah.
stupid, for being so naive. But you know, the best is good for me because I know I can control myself. I can improve myself. So I go on, read a bunch of books. You know, did the work, and got better at the end of the day. Right, you said yourself that you had this PUA background and probably,
Yeah.
yeah.
I want to comment on
Oh
that
yeah,
because I
please.
think that's an interesting perspective is when you find out the truth, guys get bitter and angry, and I'm like, why not, like once you know the truth, it's like you can build a solution for that. So it's like you can navigate around it, right? And so it's an interesting dynamic when a guy takes the red pill, when he goes one path towards bitter and complaining, or the other guy takes the other path, he's like, oh, now I know how it works, now I can solve it. Whereas
But but
blue pill, you don't know. So it's like fascinating when that
but
happens.
is what you said before. Uh, when you know the truth, you also know that in order to make it work, you're gonna have to do some work,
Exactly.
and that is the problem, and there
Yeah.
lies the problem. Do I have
Yeah.
to go to the gym every day? Do I have to,
Yeah.
look better, and be able to speak with girls? Oh no, no, no. That's pedestalizing them. That's giving them validation. And this
Yeah.
is it goes to my next point here because I know that
Yeah.
you
The
have,
fear.
yeah, you have this PUA background, game, and you apply that on your daily basis. And here in Brazil, funny enough, I don't know why, but PUAs and red pillars are, clashing a lot. They have a bit of a war going on because most of the guys on the red pill see PUAs as, not most of the YouTubers. I wouldn't say, the YouTubers who are red pill are bashing too much. More like the black pillars and the black pillars community, MGTOW, and so on and so forth, because they see PUAs uh, let's put it this way. Let me see here. They think PUAs validate girls because they go for the attack. Because they want to kiss the girl, they want to have sex with them and everything. Which is, for me, I can't phantom that. I have never saw a PUA pedestalizing a girl, putting a girl on a pedestal and
Well,
validating them. At least not on the
yeah.
wrong side. They have. I
Well,
mean,
no.
let
Wait,
me just finish here. For
sorry.
my personal opinion is PUA started at all. The guys who went to the field and tried to get the women and realized that the game was rigged from the beginning. Their views that how to approach women didn't work, so they start um, learning real dynamics, real social dynamics with girls, and one thing led to another, and eventually they, created this sphere of red pill. But go on, what do you think?
Yeah. So it's really interesting because people like to throw them all, especially in the U.S., in the same basket, but they're actually polar opposites, right? Because PUA is action taking by definition. Otherwise, you're just theorizing online, not an actually a pickup artist, right?
Hmm.
So when I started doing it, there was red pill was emerging at the same time. None of us had even heard of it back then because we were all out going to meet women. We were all out action taking. So there was a lot of cringe in pickup artistry. There was a lot of weirdness, and a lot of guys were really bad at it. And so think about it, you have thousands of guys trying to be pickup artists that are really bad with social skills and bad at it. So of course it's going to get a bad rap, right? And I came in actually as a semi-natural. I actually was good at getting women before my pickup artistry, and I kind of stumbled upon it because I had a neediness in relationships. But as far as attracting women, I was pretty much a natural in university. So I came in with a different perspective and socialized. I was in fraternities. I was in a fraternity, so I came in with this socialized perspective, and that's why like these guys are weird, but they were taking action and they were getting better and they were succeeding with women. Whereas red pill, like not the knowledge base, but the community is the opposite. The red pill is like theorizing, talking about it all day behind a computer screen, right? PUA is about meeting the women, so that's why there's going to be a clash because it's action takers versus non-action takers. And then you said the most hilarious thing, which I've heard too, is like validating women by having sex with them. By they'll say like going down on a woman is validating her. Like what? Isn't that the point?
I will give that
Isn't that the
validation
point?
anytime, any day.
Right? It's just it's a coping mechanism because they're failing, right? So any guy succeeding in that is automatically, supposed to be validating them. And then the MGTOWs say, well, you're supposed to have purpose in your life and you're not supposed to learn how to attract women and try these things on them to get them. It's like, no, it's all coping, because at the end of the day, they all want to be with women or a woman, right? If they're a straight man and they all want that relationship with a woman or women, they want a wife, maybe, they want a family, maybe. So it's just a coping mechanism to hate on anything that's successful in that realm. And pickup artists, in a lot of ways, are not as successful because there's thousands of guys that fail at being pickup artists. But when they do succeed, they're way more successful than any, of the red pill community or black pill or anybody else that's just online. So I think the big clash comes in that they're action takers. There's also problems that they are sometimes often weird action takers, and they create ruckus and they harass women sometimes. And so the communities as a whole are risky because you're dealing with a lot of men that have no social skills. But at the top, the top guys, you wouldn't even know, like if you went into a bar, with me and met me, you would never know I was a pickup artist. So it's like, that's the integration. That's the whole point, is that it's not, weird. It's socialized at the top level. It just so happens that most guys that try it are in the learning phase and they're not getting to that level. So it comes off weird, strange, whatever. There's also a lot of cringy coaches out there. So I understand the sentiment behind it. But at the end of the day, pickup artists are action takers and the rest are non-action takers. So.
Exactly. I see PUAs as an attack and red pills as a defense. And in my humble opinion, they go hand to hand in a sense of like, if I know game and I know that the red pill will give me the knowledge of the traps, right? That what to avoid, how not to behave when I'm in a relationship, when I'm meeting the girl, when it's casual, whatever. I'm going out with her, I know that I can be, oh, you're so beautiful, you're so great, I love you so much. And the PUA gives me the option to attack. So I know how to talk to a girl, how to tweak her triggers, the psychological triggers and everything. So I don't see any reason for people to be upset about PUAs. Like I said before, it's a matter of like, oh, so you want to get out, you want to go out with a girl? Oh, that's not nice because you need to be MGTOW. If you're red, I heard some coaches saying that if you are red pill and you have even casual relationship, you are a hypocrite because you shouldn't have. I'm like, oh, sorry. I mean, it's denying your own impulses. Having sex is great. Girls are great. I don't see the point. Why am I learning red pill if I'm not gonna get a girl? It's not. I don't see any of us pedestalizing any girls ever. That's beside the point.
It's a coping mechanism, right? So if someone is jealous of someone else, they're going to attack them for whatever reason, even if the reason sounds like nonsense. And then also online, you get a lot of confirmation bias. So if a guy never goes out and meets women and talks to women, then his whole worldview of women is built around what he sees online, which is going to be OnlyFans girls. It's going to be entitled women. It's going to be the apps. It's going to be other guys talking. So if there's, let's say back in the day, there was 20% of women that were horribly entitled and over the top and whatever, and red flags and not worth dating, right? And then now in the modern age, it's 50%. That would be really high, but that still leaves 50% of women that are great women to be with, right? But the guys online would never know that because they don't meet those women, because those women aren't hanging out online, right? They're studying at university or in the library, or they're at the cafe, or they're offline. They're not having social media. If you want to date, women that don't have social media and that are cool, chill, women, then you can't be online or only online, right? You have to be offline, right? What about the ones that aren't on the dating apps, right? So your whole worldview is going to be skewed from a confirmation bias standpoint. If you're always online, then you're going to be, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. You're only going to interact with the crappy women that are online, if that's the case, right? So a lot of this, and with the dating apps have gotten harder, and I've seen that with myself and my students. The dating apps have gotten much harder, still doable, but I now much prefer, and I always did, approaching women in person, and that's more what I push my students to do, is do more in-person approaching. and building social circles and things like that, because that's where you're going to meet better women, and that's where you're going to have more success, and that's where you're going to build up your skills and your confidence and your socializing, instead of sitting around waiting for a match to come in.
Absolutely. Right. So I was about to ask you something. Let me check here my notes so I don't
Oh
get
yeah, go ahead.
too
Go
lost.
ahead.
Right. So I did a video about MGTOWs, and my point of view, and I want to hear yours, is that I completely respect the person who is, let's say, just for the sake of argument, 65 years old. He tried everything in his life, everything in his power to get better, get in shape, get better at the game, get better at, socializing girls and everything. And everything he tried failed. Now at 65, he realized consciously, he had a moment of clarity. He said, you know what? I was happier when I was by myself. I tried everything. So now I gave up. I'm 65. I don't want to play games anymore. And I feel better when I'm by myself. That is the kind of MGTOW I respect 100%. Doesn't need to be 65, was just a number there. But a guy who tried and tried and tried, and at the end of the day, he had a conscious decision that he didn't want anymore. What I see a lot happening is boys, for a lack of better word, boys that don't know any better and they want to belong to something. It's like a church, right? They want to belong. They want to, like we said, validate their thoughts, and they are going in a path of zero relationship, and like I said, coping, which is I think is coping at the end of the day. We keep saying among friends of ours here that this guy's like 20 years old saying, MGTOW, I will never date a girl. As soon as as soon as he's able to get a 6 or a 7, that's it. He's gonna drop MGTOW. He's gonna drop this whole thing, on the side, and give up on that and go for the girl. And I think it'll be much better for him prepare himself when that time comes than actually, just bash, go. Then suddenly a nice girl comes along and he doesn't even know what to do with it. Do you see it like this? The question would be, do you think MGTOWs choose this life, or this life choose them?
Yeah. So I've studied this a lot. I've been in the forums, just reading a bunch of things. I've been in these communities. I think ultimately it's pretty obvious that they're not choosing it, right? They're being sent their own way. Choosing it is more monastery. It's more becoming an actual monk. It's more a religious thing than it is, actually wanting to do it, right? It's a reactionary thing. It's not proactive. That said, there is two different factions, being the young versus the older guys that have tried it. But I think it's less so guys that have tried and failed, and more so guys that have been screwed by some of the systems, like in the U.S., the court system, divorce, child.
It's the same in Brazil, the misandric laws,
Okay. Yeah, so if you've been screwed over by the system, that makes sense, and that's a reasonable state. And actually, I from reading, a lot of MGTOWs don't not see women. They don't not date women. They don't not hook up with women. They just don't date them seriously. They don't get married. They don't cohabitate. Right? A lot of them still date women. So it's this going your own way, meaning I do my thing and I see women on the side, but I'm never going to marry one. I'm not going to have a girlfriend. Maybe I'm just going to have fun on the side. But it's not like they've totally forsaken women, some of them. Other ones that have failed become that way. And then as they get younger and younger, MGTOW becomes more of a cope, like you said, where they just fail and whatever. It's healthier than the other ones, though, which is to blame women and things like that. At least they have what's called sublimation in psychology, whereas you take a negative emotion, you sublimate it into something positive. So for them, it might be going to the gym, or it might be taking more vacations, traveling more. So they're at least going in a positive direction. Not always, but a lot of times. So that's more admirable than just whining, complaining, or blaming women all the time. So I have less problem with them, but they are infecting the younger generations of, it's time to give up. It's a similar mentality of that. But if you've been screwed over by the system, especially the courts, or by women in the past, there are narcissistic women just as there are narcissistic men. There are, a lot of problems in relationships. If you've actually been screwed over by them, then yeah, it's much more justified and much more understandable to feel that way, rather than some guy who's never dated, who's sitting in his room thinking about it. But at the end of the day, I do respect it more than some of the black pill stuff, because at least it's work on your career, work on your business, go out to the gym. It is more white pilled solutions for your life, if not for your dating life. And I use white pill in that sense too, because I think it's a philosophy on life. It's not just applicable to dating, it's applicable to anything. It's literally just stop complaining. Here's the reality. How are you going to deal with it? How are you going to live a better life? You only get one shot at this life, right? So that's really the white pill mentality, is like, what is finding a solution instead of complaining about it. And in dating, yeah, that's really my focus. But yeah, there are solutions to living a better life, and we're so used to eating crappy food and being lazy and staying at home and being on the internet all the time and not connecting and not socializing. And so that's really why it's gotten worse, is like we don't have these social skills anymore. Like we're moving even more so into living in a metaverse of sorts, rather than getting out in the real world and talking to people and going in nature and really just getting to know people. Like people don't even say hi to each other anymore. I'm the only one who walks down the street and says hi to everyone, right? So
it's complicated, because I see a lot of the points of the black pillars. Don't get me wrong. I think Tinder, bamboo, whatever they call it in the US, Happen, which is an app here in Brazil that's very famous as well. All these things, especially like you said, the court system. The court system is beyond belief right now. In Brazil, it's ridiculous. The laws are completely misandric, and I get that. But at the same time, there are ways to navigate around that. The thing is, I see a lot of guys getting bad with girls is the lack of filters, the fact that these guys are living in such a scarcity that once they have one go, they go so deep for that. They ignore all the red flags. They ignore everything. So I keep doing videos of like, look, this is red flags. The way you avoid this is really take your time. You met a girl, take your time. You don't need to rush. You don't need to to make her your girlfriend the next time you see her. Try to find more about her family. See how her finances are going. Just don't start. I want to marry you on the third date. That's not the way it is, because then you're gonna set yourself for failure. If you filter enough, I mean, don't get me wrong. I lost a lot of. I mean, I had some bad runs with girls on the feeling side. I loved her and she didn't love me, that kind of thing. But I never lost any money. I never lost any property. There was never a liability to my case, because my filters on that kind of thing were, up there. So I never dated a girl that wanted my money, asked me for, to buy her things, because as soon as she was like, "Oh, can you buy me that dress?" I'm like, "Nope, nah." That's a kind of girl that I don't want to, that even when I was blue pill.
Yeah, well, I think you bring up an interesting point about boundaries and setting yourself up properly, because I agree with MGTOW on that. I agree with Black Pill on that, on the court system. I agree that there's women that'll take advantage of you, but they act as if that's the problem, is that there are women that'll take advantage of you, that there are courts that'll take advantage of you, rather than putting the proper precautions in place, talking to a lawyer, looking out for the red flags, not putting up with stuff just because she's attractive. And so a lot of the stuff, even pickup artists, you didn't put up with this. Well, the interesting about pickup artists is you don't get it. You're not supposed to get attached to this. You're actually not doing stuff for her. You're not buying her stuff. Actually, one of the biggest things is don't take her on a fancy dinner. That's a pickup artist thing, right? So it's like the opposite. Is it's not trying to impress them. It's not overdoing it. It's not simping. It's not doing these behaviors, and it's not being passive. So it's like, I'm with you guys. I'm with the guys that are Black Pill and MGTOW on the risks involved. But why not protect yourself? There's so many ways to do that. Make a list of things you won't accept or you won't do, and then don't do those things.
Exactly.
off. If you have abundance with women, you can cut. That's really the issue. Is you're scared that that one woman, like you said, that actually likes you back is going to take advantage of you. Rather than realizing if you can attract a few of them, then you can cut off the ones with the red flags and not have to deal with them. So it's almost as if they're saying, we can't deal with this because if we even do happen to attract one, she's probably one of the bad ones. Rather than saying, well, why don't I learn how to attract more than one so I can cut off the bad ones and protect myself, right? And if you want to MGTOW with that one girl, meaning you want to next her and go your own way and go away from that woman, I do that all the time. I don't have to deal with toxic women because I just pick up on it very quickly and I cut them off very quickly, right? I don't put up with their BS, so I don't have to deal with them. And that's one of the guys, well, the problem that guys have is when women start to like them, they end up sometimes with those bad women, and then they get jaded by it because they get walked on and they don't stand up for it.
That's brilliant. Well, Josh, thank you very, very much. We're going to end this conversation here today. But again, it was a pleasure to have you here. It's a beacon of shining light. Let's put it this way. You know, and it's good to. I hope that my only hope is that people like you get a chance to shine more, to show more, to collaborate more, and we can share shed a light on on this, especially the young guys who are trying to get their bearings right, trying to get a nice path, and guys like you and me and others as well are trying to teach them not just the traps but the solutions to the trap as well. So I'm pretty pleased that you are here collaborating with me. It was an amazing conversation, and it's a big pleasure from my end. Thank you very much, Josh.
Yeah, thanks for having me. And yeah, Coach Whte, check out my YouTube channel. I'm doing a lot of trainings and different things on how to learn how to attract women and live a better life. So I really appreciate having me. We need more of this.
Well, thank you, Josh. Have a nice one. Bye bye.